All right, so I think that's it. Let's take a look. We're just gonna make sure the sound's good, and then we'll continue on here. So, all right, and then after that, just make sure everything is good. I think we're live. The sound is always an issue, right? So, yeah, I just want to see. There we go. And yeah. So I've got a lot of cool stuff planned for today. So we'll talk about that once we're done. And of course, a little late today. I actually almost wanted to get this done on time, but not quite. So let's see. So last time on the Mammoth live stream, we had a bunch of keys and we added some stars in there, and for some reason it didn't look like stars got saved. But we also had an issue with going to the last checkpoints, that is. So if we kind of run this, also, by the way, I did have some really good ideas as to, okay, so that's what we didn't get to work last time. But I did have some really good ideas in terms of adding in some extra items or adding in some backgrounds with this here. So if you don't know, this is what the game is. What's interesting about this particular game is that we have the camera movement, and we also made this level to be quite easy. Now, of course, we have to test it. Like this particular section here is almost unplayable, but doesn't matter as much. But you can see that we can kind of go left to right here. We get the keys, and there's some stars there as well. Now, I had some inspiration over the stars here, but no worry about that yet. Oh, and by the way, please say hi if you are in. Oh, excellent, Andrea. Again, thank you, Andrea, for attending to all of my live streams. I do really appreciate it. So, excellent. I like that here. So, just double checking one last thing. And yes. Okay, good. So, as we wait for a couple people to show up here, if you haven't already purchased the Scapegoat or pre-ordered Remember Lights Out or purchased Pluvo, please do. It really does help us out. And lastly, if you go and subscribe to us for $1 on Patreon, it really does help us out. All right. So, first things first. Let's talk about this. Okay, so we're going to add the checkpoint here, and I can't believe I didn't think of this last time because it's incredibly easy to actually program this in. It's so incredibly easy that I just didn't know. Okay, so all we have to do is add two variables here. We'll call this check. Well, I mean, if we really want to go nuts, we can go say last checkpoint y, and it's a number, and we're just going to say last. We don't even need to do that. We say last checkpoint x. Okay, and that's it. Okay, and you see how easy this is, right? Okay, so if player is overlapping the checkpoint, set is active to true. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to say actually, we don't even need that is active to true, but basically, well, we kind of do. Okay, so is active to true. All we're going to do is set the value of last checkpoint x to checkpoint.x. Okay, and that's all we're going to do. We're going to copy and paste that here. do checkpoint Y, and then change that to checkpoint Y, okay? That's it, okay? The other thing that we can do is we can, in theory, the animation poses still a bit of an issue, but for the most part, this does kind of work. And actually, it kind of makes sense because it's kind of something that you hit, and then once you hit it, it shows you that you aren't. It just shows you that you're not backtracking. So we can kind of leave it the way it is. Okay. So I'm just gonna say. Now it's been the whole week since I've been in this. Actually, I kind of think about it on and off time here. But do we have an is dead? No. Okay, so I'm just gonna say Boolean here. I always like to make sure my def is a Boolean. Kind of makes sense. Anyway, so we're gonna say if right now we're just adding some keyboard. We're gonna say keyboard on key pressed, and the key is just gonna be I don't know. We might as well make it the O key. Doesn't really matter what key here. So O key here, we're gonna player. Set Boolean that is dead to true. Okay, so if player is dead, Boolean, if is dead is equal to true, then we're going to go to player destroy. Then we're going to go to player. Well, we're going to actually spawn some particles, but we can do that later. But we're going to say system wait 2 seconds for now, and then we're going to say check. Well, we can say checkpoint. We can go to actually instead of destroying this. Here's what we're going to do. Actually, no, player destroy. We are going to destroy. So the reason why I was hesitant for a second is that I was going to technically move it away. And this is actually done a lot. Oftentimes, when the player dies, the player doesn't actually get destroyed. It just moves to a place where the user can't see. So we'll just destroy it here, and then we're going to go to System, Create Object. And that object, of course, is going to be the player. And then we're going to put this on the player layer, and we're going to say that this is last checkpoint X and last checkpoint Y. Now you see how easy this is, and I can't believe I didn't think of it before. But basically, let's kind of do this here. So we do that, and then I push space, or it's actually O. Okay, and then you can see that. There we go. Look at that. Not bad. Now, unfortunately, what this does here is so we have the checkpoint thing working, but instead we have to do something. We have to do something else. When we destroy it, it randomly sets the camera to a specific location. So instead, we're going to do kind of the band-aid fix of this. I'm just actually reading some of the chat here. So Andrea says she bought Pluvo. Thank you very much, Andrea. We do appreciate it. It really does help us. The more people buy our apps in the App Store, by the way, it does put us up in the ratings. Yes, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it here. All right, so where were we again? Oh, yes, that's right. So player, we're going to set the opacity just to 0. And then we're going to go to player. I think it's enabled. So we're just going to enable or disable the platform. So basically, instead of destroying it, we're going to do this. Okay, and this should work, by the way. So we do that, push O. You know, it's destroyed, and then magically okay. Okay, and there we go. So once we create that object here, we're going to set player Boolean is dead to false. Okay. Let's try that again. Should just create one, but for some reason it creates like a whole bunch of them. Okay. I wonder why that is. Set opacity to 0 and then player opacity to 100. Oh, that's right. Wait 2 seconds. And then I think I have to actually add in another wait time here. I think so. And what I'm actually going to do is copy this but invert it. Okay? And actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to... See, lots of things are kind of interesting with this here. Okay, so if is dead, we do have to set is dead to false after that. Alright. Okay, well that's weird. Oh, no wonder why. Alright. That is kind of neat, actually. Keeps on spawning them, though. By the way, this is a live stream, meaning that there's going to be problems here. Remember, our course content at Mammoth Interactive is much more polished than this. All right, here we go. The old trigger once while true. Okay, perfect. Aha. So, well, it's going to be impossible for them to die right away. So, there we go. Now the camera's off. Well, that's interesting. Did it break automatically? Okay, and then if I die, let's try dying here. Okay. So there's a few things you gotta do, but let's do the checkpoint, die, set the opacity, and then where is player.x? So let's go with the old debug layout, figure that out. Alright, so we want camera. So we got 3 and 4. Okay, and then we move over here. If I push O, it's 5 and 3. And then, well, nothing happens. It's like the floor player.x. Why does it not change there? It's interesting. I wonder if... There's the step logic here. I'm going to set... Let's see if this works. No. You know what? It is creating another object, and for some reason, it's not setting that new object to that player. So, that is interesting. So I think here's what I think we'll do actually. I will add in, it will be player, Boolean. So we'll only say if is dead is not, well, if it's false here. Okay. I'm going to move that as a subcondition of that. So this shouldn't change anything, right? So we still have, you know, everything's good here. But if we die, and then there's the new spawn here, that may not work here. So all right, so it's obviously a little bit harder than I thought it would be, but this is what game development really is. All right. Okay, so I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of that create object here. Ah, that's why. We shouldn't be creating the object anyway. I wonder if this is going to work. Okay, so set the opacity to 0. That's why it's not working. It's because there's two of them being created here. And we're going to say player move our set position to last checkpoint.x and last checkpoint.y. Okay. Aha, here we go. So let's take a look at this. 0, 1, 2, and then it should just move it back. But it moves it back to the wrong area. It's probably because I missed it. Okay. Okay. Let me get rid of this trigger points here. I get rid of the wrong one, but nevertheless. That's weird. All right. Wait 2 seconds. I think I do need to have that trigger once while true. All right, solved. Love it. Anyway, so let's take a look at these X positions here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, and then I'm going to go back to my global variables here. Now, normally I don't like to hard code things in this way. Technically, you should, well, you don't always have to hard code things in this way, but I'm going to do it for now. Technically, I can take the position of the specific UDID checkpoint, but for now, I'm just going to make this the starting position. Now, the only reason we have to do this is if the player misses that first checkpoint. Okay, in which case, I think I messed that up. So, well, that's easy enough to remember. 680. I think I did that. 680. So, and then this one was whatever. Okay, so the only reason I'm doing that is, what if the player jumps over this? Because obviously the player is going to do that. All right, there we go. So basically it just says, where it is. Now, in theory, you could change that to be, whatever you want it to be. But I think this is probably pretty good. Okay. No, at least it's a pretty good tutorial there. I do believe, yeah, so it's kind of neat. I like it. Like it a lot. Now, for whatever reason, I do also like the colors here. Now, I do have some cool concepts here, but let's talk about the stars. So, let's save this. Let's definitely save this. All right, so this is 6 here, and then I'm also going to save it to my downloaded copy. All right, so that's probably pretty good too. So, okay, let's talk about the stars. Let's go back to our layout here. I'm going to delete that. And let's actually go to the star here. So, instead of having different stars, we don't have to have these stars be different colors. I mean, we could have them be different colors if we want to, but what that does is it signifies to the player that they're like the keys. And we could technically do that. However, it might be better to just have like these yellow stars, and we could just have one per screen. That way there's like a goodie to get on each screen. I think that's probably the best thing to do. And let's go to the star here, and let's delete this instant variable. And hopefully that was on the star. Collectible logic. Star, overlapping player, star and created item layer. Okay, so I think we got everything, and it deleted all of the items we didn't want here. So what this is going to do is all we're going to have is basically on each screen, we're going to have a star. That's all we're going to do. And that way, we will count the amount of stars. And in theory, there should be, I think it's 8 by 8, so that's 64, right? So by adding that one per screen here, and we can even, add it so that there's, 2 things. There's a star and a key on the screen. So, this way it gives the players, some goodies. Okay. And if I click on the star here, it should highlight all of them. Does it give you a count? It doesn't. That would be useful if it gave you a count of some kind. Okay. Alright, so it looks like I did put some of the stars in here. Oh, there's a random star. We can just move that up here. Now we already have one on that screen. Well, technically we can have, there's no rules in this here. We can have more than one on a screen. In fact, I kind of like that. Just populate this entire game with stars. Right? I think it's not a bad idea. Because there's certain spots where I kind of do want the stars. Okay, it just seems to be all these random stars here. Yep, so as you can see, we're just kind of adding in stars, and we should have a total star count of this here. And what we're going to have to do is make it so that, once you get all the stars, then, that's another condition that you need to meet in order to actually pass the game. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Adding in 2 stars here. So Wow. And you know what? By putting a star in that location, you can see that it leads you towards a specific path. All right, so it seems like there's been some doubling. Weird. Just all these stars randomly. I'm not sure what's up with that. Doesn't matter though. It really does actually. This formula is actually really basic, but it is effective. And never confuse the two. Just because something's simple doesn't mean it's not effective. In fact, you generally, like if you're an engineer, you obviously want your application or anything to be simple. I mean, you don't want to have simple machines. Let's see. So I'm just going to double track all of these here to see if there's any stars that have been overlapped. Okay, so let's just play this and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. So you see that there's a star there, and it forces you, like every screen, since every screen is a very direct kind of thing, you're like, ooh, you know, what's down below? Okay. And so, you know, we're probably gonna have to add something there, but every screen is a little thing right here, right? So that is awesome. I think it's really good. All right. So, few things to do yet. First things first, let's save it. We did, let's download it. Okay. And really kind of every little nook and should have something. You know, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, collectible logic. Actually, you know what? Let me experiment with something here. Let's go to the star, add the behavior, and I'm going to add the rotate behavior. Star. And where's the star here? On created. No. On created. We're going to say star. Set speed. I don't know. We'll set the speed to 1. Is it actually moving? Oh, it is. It's so painfully slow. Right, I always like to go farther than it needs to go. Whoa! Actually, that's kind of cool because it's technically not centered, is it? So that's also interesting. So obviously, let's set that to like 100. By the way, okay, that's cool, but it looks sloppy. So rotation is the easiest thing you can do. So we're gonna have to, let's see, we're gonna move this to the top left here, and then we're going to say, I think it's 7 by 7, and we're not gonna stretch it here. Okay, so you have to click out of it first. Okay, so There we go. Well, it's still kind of the same issue, but it doesn't matter really. A couple things we're gonna do, but I really do. Yeah. The gravity's really, really intense. But like here, yeah, we're gonna have to add in some extra platforms there. All right. Okay. A couple other things you got to do here. We're gonna, instead of saying the key, we're going to replace key with star. And we're gonna go back to our, while I'm here, little variables, we'll say, oh, we do have total stars. Oh, I'm ahead of myself here. Oh wait, did I actually even do that already? Oh, look at that. Okay, there we go, we have total stars. And, okay. A couple things we should add in. We should add some particle effects. So, and we're gonna clean up the level too. Okay. So first things first is we're gonna have particles, and then we're gonna maybe make that 2. Yeah, you know what? I'll make it 4 by 4. And I'm going to just add the fill, and it's going to be just a yellow, okay? And the one-shot spray cone is 360. Let's, okay, yeah, that's exactly what we want. The size we want to be 4. So preview. Yeah, so that's going to happen when you get the star speed. Maybe we'll make it 50. Maybe move this over here so we can see it. Yeah, so the acceleration maybe would be -40. -20. Yeah, that's not bad. Size, maybe make it 2. The size randomizer will make that 2. Speed randomizer. We have a speed randomizer here. I'm going to make that just 100. And this speed randomizer, I'm going to make 100 as well. There we go. That's looking more like a star. Maybe change the speed down to 25. Okay, perfect. So we're going to call this particles star, not star particles. Okay. Let's clone this, and we're going to call this player depth particle. And with this, we're going to make it definitely. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to make it a white and black. What's the black here? But yeah, that's what we're looking for. And we are border thickness is going to be 1. Actually, I think we need to change this up to 8 by 8. Obviously we need to change this to 1, and obviously we're going to invert this. There we go. That's all that I'm looking for here. All right. So if we preview that, it's pretty much the same thing, right? But we're going to change it to 8. Now it's too big. Let's make it 4. And we're also going to do timeout expired. We're going to have absolutely 0 randomization. And the speed is going to be a little bit more. Yeah. Perfect. So let's go to our def logic here. Layer, spawn another object. That object, of course, is going to be player def particle. Layer is going to be the player layer, and the image point is just going to be 0. Okay, we're going to do that here. So let's double test that too. So we do that. Push O. Yeah, I'm liking that. Maybe we should do fade to invisible. Let's go back. Maybe particle stop. Let's just test that. Hey, that looks good. I like it. Cool. Now, if we really wanted to, we could. I'm going to clone this object type. Now, one of the things I really wish Construct 3 had was the ability to change the colors programmatically. Other engines do that, but Construct doesn't. So we're going to end up with this, and let's change this up to 4. That's the, yeah, we'll make it 4, and then we're going to have a grow randomizer. Well, there's a size randomizer and a grow randomizer. So let's double check this. And that's going to be when you get the key. So key particle. And is this still 4x4? It is. Yeah, okay, that works. So let's back click the logic here, and let's say key spawn another object is going to be key particles. Layer is going to be the item layer. Technically, you should do that before. I'm going to do that here. Replace this object with the star, and replace the key particles with star particles, and I think we're good to go. So yeah, particles are well. Okay, I like it so far. Ha! Star particles. Well, that's frustrating. Alright. Boom. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Maybe they should be a bit more uniform. Yeah, I feel like both of these should be a bit more uniform. So let's go back to the test layout here. And I'm going to just say the speed randomizer for both of these is 0. And 0. Let's test that again. So we got the star. Not bad. Yeah. I think we need some kind of randomization. Maybe just less randomization. 50. Still quite a bit of randomization. That's probably good enough. Whoa, that's tricky. This is, you have to actually make sure that you can get all the stars too. Which is, you know, what you would require with testing. So all the games obviously going to need to be tested before the App Store, but nevertheless, let's save it. And then what we're going to do is fix up some of the tile map. Not that difficult. few of these sections here. I think that's it. But let's go and let's erase some of these other items here. Like, well, where was it that we had that problem? All right, I think it was up over here. Couldn't jump over a pit. Where was that pit? Right, so huh. There, no. Alright, well, nevertheless, let's go back to our layers here. Just lock that for a moment here. Hop into the item layer. And where is that platform? That's called the jump through. Alright, so drag that out here. And perfect. That's what I was going to do. Tile layer. You know, obviously, things like this we got to get rid of. So if I see more of those along the way, we'll have to. Alright. I think most of these are pretty good. But I want to use these sparingly, these jump throughs, as much as I can. I don't want to necessarily have to. Here's another one that's kind of sloppy. Let's fill this up first. And let's take this. I see a problem. Oh boy. This is going to have to be completely rethought. Right, so let's take this out here. And you know what? The easier thing to do would be this. Perfect. I like that a lot better. Much like that a lot better. And by the way, you can see how, adding in that jaggedness is pretty difficult to do by itself, but if you just erase it in the way that I had, you can see it's a lot easier. Okay, let's see. Where else do we need to jump through? Let's lock that. Probably get up there, but I don't think I need that one. Here's another one. So, oftentimes when you make your game and, it's just not kind of working out the way you want it to. You just sometimes have to plow through it. All right, jump through. All right, this is another place where we need one of these. I think we can get up there. That. Okay. All this is traversable. Definitely traversable. Traversable. Where was that pit? Oh well. Okay. Well, let's play it for a bit. Then we'll make the title screen. So also, you notice how it's all on one. If it's all in one layout, then you don't have to worry about respawning anything. Okay. Now, as of now, the idea of exploration isn't necessarily the bad thing in this game. However, let's see. Am I supposed to go up there? Maybe. Okay, I see. Well, that works. Okay, and that's obviously going to need to be tested and tampered with. There we go. Yeah, so like that as well. So we're getting there. It's not quite done yet. Okay. So, what next? So instead of calling this test layout, let's call this, we'll call this main game. And then let's add a new layout. And we're just going to add layout only. Okay. And we're going to call this title screen. Right. And within this, I'm going to just say the title screen, not the margins here, but the size. Okay. Now, usually a title screen is going to have some element of a game. So I've got a great idea. Okay, that's obviously not what we want. I think if I clone that, it clones the data as well. Tile map. So what we're going to do is we're going to literally do kind of the same thing here. But we're going to go to this tile map, just copy everything, and we're going to go to tile map 2, paste it, but so I believe it was 24 by 24. I could be wrong on that. No, I'm not. Love it. So, within this tile map here, we're going to add layer. I don't think we even need a layer. Anyway, we'll call this player layer. And we'll add one. We'll call this GUI. And then this will be the tile map. And then lastly here, we're going to add one. We're going to call it background. So I kind of already know what I want in terms of I already kind of know what I want in terms of this here. So the background, we don't want transparent. We do want that one to be transparent. And all these are going to be transparent except for this one here. We're actually just going to pick this midnight blue here. But bring the saturation down a bit. Maybe the brightness down too. So I kind of like this navy blue concept here. And let's just see how that works with our tile map. Okay, so let's, oh yes, that's right. We have to make this 8 by 8. And click on the tile map here. Okay. There we go. So let's do that. Oh, and by the way, let's go back to the layout here. Snap the grid 8 by 8. Now, generally, you would copy over all of your layout here. Usually you don't make it from scratch, but basically this is kind of where it's going to be here. And that's a couple things we can do. Before I forget, let's go to the main game here and let's go to the key, and we're going to add an assign behavior. Assign behavior, we're also going to add in or just assign behavior actually. Make sure it's vertical, and we don't want it to be very much, so we're going to make that be 2 for now. And I'm just going to move the title screen down because the main game should be first. So let's just run that here, right? So, oh boy, yeah, no. So, just want it to move up and down very slowly. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe make that 8. I think that might be way too fast though. No, that's right. You go down the period. It's also by the way, so the keys we want to just kind of move up and down like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to the title screen. Okay, then we're going to add in the keys. Okay, you're gonna see kind of the quote unquote genius in this in just a second here. So the key like that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's good. Or is it that? I want to make sure they're evenly spaced apart. 1, 2, 3. 3, okay. Okay, there we go. So it is for sure. So basically, we're going to select all of these now. And we're going to kind of move them into the middle. It'd be tricky. Yeah, it looks like it's about the middle. So, yeah, that's exactly what this is going to be. So first, we're going to add this in here. Add the player here, so the player's kind of looking up. But more importantly, I'm going to add in just another layer here. Then we're just going to kind of carve out this kind of landscape-ish here, and we can maybe just kind of do that. Maybe make it a little bit more hilly, kind of like they're in a ravine. Something like that. And then you can take a look at that here. Alright, let's go to the player controls. So we're going to say system, compare two values if the layout name is equal to title screen, and that should be it. We're going to go to player, disable, set enabled, and we're just going to disable that. That's all it is. Weird. Just copy that over again. Well, there's obviously an easy answer to this. Tile map 2, solid. Now, I don't want the player to move. So you can see that, yeah, we now have the keys there. We're not done yet, not by a long shot, but we're going to have some stars up here too. So it's kind of like a game set at night. So I kind of like that. Okay, and the title is going to kind of go up here. Okay, we're going to talk about the title in a moment here, but we're also going to give this a 1. And actually, you know what? There is a way to do this programmatically. I just don't think it's at all useful at this point. Oftentimes in game development, you have to pick and choose your battles. In this case, the battle I don't think is worth choosing or worth pursuing. All right. Is that the reason why? Ah, that's why it didn't work. Perfect. So you can see here that, you know, you have the keys, you have the stars. It'd be cool if the stars twinkled, but anyway. Let's add in a text object here. And we'll want to make sure we move that to the GUI layer. A couple things to check out. We will set it to, well, do we have an RGB value? Let's set it to 250, 250, 250. And that works out well for me. And let's see. Center alignment, center, center. Center all the above here. Now, obviously, actually, the aerial text does kind of give it a game name. We don't have a name for this yet, but the aerial actually kind of gives it some charm, even though it's horrifically standard. But I'm going to basically clone this, and I'm going to give this maybe the 26, and I'm going to stretch it out. And you can see just by adding in like the, the center, you can actually center this. Okay, you can actually center this, and it looks good. Okay, so like that here, and what's the 304, 40? So we want to say this is 40. Okay. No, that's not what I want. It's the position. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. And then we're just going to say this is play. Okay. So, all right. Let's see. Let's look at this here. We need to add in a new event sheet. We'll call this title screen logic. And let's go to our main event sheet. Include title screen logic. What else? So title screen logic, we're basically adding a bunch of touch, or in this case, we have to actually add in mouse controls. Yes. Actually, no, the touch controls work. We don't actually have to add mouse. I haven't saved this in a long time, so I'm going to go do that right now. So maybe make that 8, and just, if you don't trust the cloud, download it to your computer. Okay. So if touch object is going to be text 2, well, let's go change that right now. So this is going to be title text, and here is going to be play text. Perfect. So title screen logic. If on play text, we will system go to layout. Layout will be main game. Okay, that's all we really need to do there. So yeah, okay. I actually kind of like this. All right. All right. Okay. So that takes care of the title. Let's go to Google Fonts. Let's go find a good font for this. So I just like using Google Fonts personally. This one's actually kind of neat. But what we're looking for is sans serif fonts that are display. Let's just do display actually. And well, we don't have to do. So these display ones are more for titles. You wouldn't want to read a book with like this font in particular. So that one's kind of neat. That one's kind of cool. Kind of want to make a whole game based off this font. This one isn't so bad because it works out really well. But we can be a little more creative than that. Or can we? Because it's a retro game, this actually really does fit. Let's see. I'm going to open that up and put it in the maybe pile. Something like this won't work, or this just doesn't work the same way. Then something retro, like an 80s retro font, would be perfect for this game. So I'm just going to go down. In fact, you can almost, I think you can search. Yeah. Wait, does this just restart? all these barcode ones. I mean, that's kind of old looking. You know, it seems like I'm taking a long time to just pick a font. It's important. I mean, like, it's just that extra little bit of finesse that you add to your game to make it work. And that one actually would work out really well, too. I mean, you can also search the internet for them, but I know that Google fonts are fine to use. That was neat. I should have opened that 80s. Okay, let's do this one. I've used this one before, but it's not as cool as it looks in a game. Again, something 80s retro would be perfect. That one's not bad. This one's kind of neat too. I mean, like, you'd use this one for a horror game. Like, obviously you would do that. So just, let's see. That's retro. That's like early 80s, like 1982 kind of retro. Not what we're looking for. In the end, we might just end up with that one retro one. I'm looking for something a little bit better. I wonder if I just put popular, if that gives us different results altogether. I mean, this is like kind of like a 78. I mean, this one's used exactly for that. Does it have a bold? No, it doesn't. Okay. All right, I'm going to spend 3 more minutes doing this, and then if not, I'm just going to use that one. I keep thinking I'm highlighting that, but it's not. Okay. 1, 2, or 3. I think I'm going to use this one. All right. How do I download this? Oh, that's right. Download it. Okay, open it. Okay. Fonts. Import fonts. All right, let's see if we can import this. Drum roll, please. And we can. Okay, let's go back here and let's see if this is any good. Now, in order to get the fonts, you have to use this Bungee one. You get, yeah, that's perfect. In fact, yeah, no, I'm glad I picked that one. In fact, you don't have to use the same font. Let's Let's download that too. Okay, in fact, let's download all of them because whatever, this is going to be fun to look at. I mean, why not? Why not? This is good. So, unzip and unzip. And let's import some fonts here. Let's obviously go to downloads. Let's import the wall poet. Can I import multiple ones at the same time? I think I can. So let's do that here. Import. Drum roll, please, and they all work here. So let's take a look at these. Okay, let's wall poet. Okay, that also doesn't look bad. I think the one that I selected was perfect though. Also, you notice it comes out with this here, and that also is not a bad one either. But I do think I got this one right on. Maybe I should just call this game Some Game. That's not a bad name. Some. It's like retro. Some retro game. All right. Now we're talking. That's the working title for now. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Okay, so let's do press start here. Okay, so both these two, you'd have to work out the juxtaposition between the two. So just keep that in mind as we look at this here. So that one's the least favorite, but yeah, I think I did hit that. So what is this? It's 20. Perfect. Should we make it a different color? I don't know. Maybe. Either way, I'm going to save this right now. By the way, the Kickstarter went out with, well, it did a really good job. So I'm happy. It should be out in October. So yeah. Okay. So we can probably close these. There's a lot of good fonts on Google. Now there's a. All right. So we got to disable that, obviously. Basically, that's it. Where is the title screen logic? Player controls. I wonder why it's not disabled. One thing we can do. And you know why? It doesn't get called in the stack early enough. It's technically the first thing. Okay, so that works. What if I let's test this out from the beginning here. Preview project. Some retro game. I love it. Wait, but I need to test it. Let's run that again. Okay. That's why. That's why. Where are these functions here? Okay. Perfect. All right. Good. good. So I like it. We have our retro game here. It tells you that there are keys that you need to get, and then there are stars that you also need to collect. Right, so, fair enough. I like it. So, out of this here, let's do a couple of things. Go to our title screen, go to our layers, and then we're going to copy this. Okay, then we're going to go to our main game. In fact, I'm just going to move this up here so they're right next to each other. Go to the background. That's going to be the background here. And so, if I uncheck that, no, okay. Main event sheets, unstart layouts, system layer. The layer is the debug layer, and we'll set it to 0. Okay, let's try that again. All right, perfect. So now, right, perfect. We got this color here. Now, there's lots of room for some really cool. So we're gonna have to go in and kind of fix each one of these problems here. But basically, we're almost there. The problem is there's not enough to differentiate where you are right now. So let's do a couple things here. Because if it's all just this blue color, it's not going to be very interesting. Okay. That obviously needs to be fixed. And that, well, no, you can probably keep it like that. And then you're going to realize that you wrap around. I don't think we even put out different checkpoints either. Okay, there's obviously that as well. Let's see. Okay. Can we change the background color? Where's the screen move logic? Set layer background color. So the background color of the layer is going to be background. And do I still have it pasted in here? I do. Sweet. 64. And this is going to be 74, and it's going to be 128. Okay? And that's a huge syntax error. I know that. Okay, so we start off at 4.3. Okay. Sort of. Set that here. Okay. So if we have kind of like 4 quadrants of colors, that will make things a lot easier. There's 2 things we could do. One, we could make something in Photoshop, or 2, we could do it programmatically. Depends if I want to pull out Photoshop or not. Nah, I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to pull Photoshop today. So let's do that. So system, if value, if camera X is greater than or equal to 0 if, can I just copy and paste that here? And if camera X is less than, let's say, less than or equal to 4, okay? And we're gonna literally copy and paste that in here, but change these both to Y. Then we're gonna set the background layer. And, okay, let's take a look at another background layer here. What would be a good color? So we have red, obviously like a reddish or orange would be good, but oranges are terrible, at least in here, so. Reason why I pick orange is because it is the opposite of blue. Copy that. Do that. Get back to the blue. Alright, well, I'll just basically paste this in here. 255, 108, 21. Okay, so what that's going to do, back to title screen here. And we go back. I mean, orange isn't bad, but there we go. So basically, when I move over here, in fact, I'm just going to move my player. Where's my player here? Move that player right here. And it should be orange. Oh, it's yellow. Well, that's weird. Oh well. Move that back. Well, nevertheless, it did work. So let's go back to the screen moving logic. Okay, and let's just kind of play around with some colors here. All right, so blue would be good. Let's pick out the colors. So we want an orangish color, right? And that orange is going to be somewhere here. Let's say 250, 100, 0. Okay, perfect. I do like the blue. I wonder why it changed to 250, 100, and 0. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to change this up to 4 to 8. And this is also going to be yes. Okay, next up here, it's going to be, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy this, paste it. This is going to be 4. Yeah, these ones are going to be 4 and 8. Yeah, alright, so this one here is going to be 4 and 8. Okay. Now we have to pick some colors. Seems like an awful lot of logic, but that's just the way it is. Okay. So second up, we might as well have like a purple color. Deep magenta purple. Now we want that saturation, so is this the only way that we can access the slider? I think it is. Alright, so let's pick a nice dark eggplant purple and then go to the HSB and then take that down like there. Alright, let's go to RGB here. About 110, 80, 150. 110, 80, 150. Perfect. This will be 110, 80, and then 150. Okay, and so this should do that here. So let's go back to the background here. And so we got purple. We have the green background. And then let's take, of course, the HSB. Move the darkness down a bit too. All colors are not exactly equal. So this will be, let's say, 70, 110, 90. 70, 110, 90. 70, 110, and 90. And then lastly, we're going to have, well, this number. We might as well make it 64, 74, 128. That's pretty easy to remember. Mm. 64, 74, 128. Okay. There and there. Okay, let's run that. Let's see what happens. Well, that's weird. It's not necessarily a bad color. It's just not the color I want. I wonder if it has anything to do with the actual background. Okay, well, at least the colors are there. Okay, well, let's figure out why this is the way it is. Go to the main game here. Yeah, so really it should be. So we got that nice color here. And then we have, is it the debug layer that's making it? What's the... Somehow RGBEX. Can I just change this to RGB? So it probably has something to do with that EX. I don't know what that EX is. It's probably in the manual, but I'm too lazy to go search it. It's probably something really basic too. Oh well. Okay. That's apparently what it was. So not bad. Yeah. Okay. So everything works, and okay. So we got purple. Yeah. So I should honestly switch the purple up. I think with the blue. Okay, So it does work. Yeah, okay. So I know which one the blue is. I'm just gonna do this trial and error. Should be 4-3, so it really should be the first one. Okay. Perfect. Good. So that's all I really need. Green, blue. All right. There we go. Let's save it. And yeah, not bad. Okay. Next thing we need to do is let's go back, not to the title screen, main game here. Okay. Let's add in a sprite. Okay, and the sprites will be, oh boy, is it 320 by 180? Is that what we, yeah, I think it is. Okay, perfect. It is, I like it. And what is the position on this? What we're going to do, so we're going to call this background scenery. All right, and let's see here. It's not quite centered. Position is 128 by 128. 124 by 124? Yeah, it has something to do with the grid here. So let's just do both of those. And that should, yeah. Oh, that's right. I did change it, didn't I? Yeah, it's 184. 184. So close yet so far. Okay, background scenery. We're going to put this on the background layer. And we're going to anchor it. Okay. And let's go to the background scenery here. Let's toggle the grid for the moment. And we are going to just make some buildings. Didn't think that this was easy, but guess what? It's super simple. Buildings are really easy to do. Now we can actually add in multiple ones of these, but let's just add in that for the moment here, okay? And, oh boy, well that's weird. Oh yes, I see what's up. We need another layer. We're gonna call this scenery layer. And we're gonna move this background scenery to the scenery layer. Is there a transparent? All right. What should happen is you should see that, yes. So you can see that there's the background there. Okay. But where is that background scenery? Let's change that to 30%. So we add this one little thing here, and you can see that, you know, for each, it just adds in like a little bit of extra, not too much, just a little bit of extra textures. So let's double click this again. And I'm just going to, I kind of broke a rule here. And that rule is you don't want to, the third rule. It's like the most basic camera rule there is. And all it does is it says you should basically make it thirds. Okay, so if we run that again, it's going to be a little bit different. So obviously if we had, so that works actually. But it's not sufficient. Okay, I'll explain why in just a moment. We're going to call this 0. And then I'm going to duplicate this, delete everything, and duplicate it. So basically we're going to have 4 of these. They're pretty much going to be the same, but they're all going to be a little bit different, okay? And the reason why I want to make them different is because it will give the player a different sense of what's going on, okay? It'll change the background here. And the reason, by the way, why I'm choosing 4 of them is because, well, there are 4 quadrants here. And if we really wanted to go nuts with that, we could, add the 4 quadrants to something here. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to, that's right. Oh no, I can see that. So, yes, this is the easiest way to make buildings. It may seem like I'm doing a lot of nothing, but this is really, that's too thick. It's really effective for those of you who don't know. All right. So live streaming really eats up the juice. I have my laptop plugged in. Okay. I'll call this 1. Okay. Same kind of thing. In fact, we'll probably make this one a little bit more sparse. So this way it gets the player kind of understanding that there are different ones of these, well, basically different players there, so, or different screens. So let's do the same thing again. And if you wanted to, you could add in like more than just these blocks here. I'm just off the top of my head, you could add in something like a factory, like chimney sweeps or something like that. But I'm just going to do this for now. It's similar yet different. Now, you could also, if you really wanted to, you could add in like mountains or something like that, which is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. So let's do that. Neck is in the same position the entire time. Gets a little bit strained. Okay, and while we're here, let's do that. Now it looks like I'm kind of just haphazardly doing this, but it actually will look pretty good. Okay, so let's just look. So you see that the windows, you see it does look pretty good. Now you can in theory have 2 or 3 of these behind. One's I think good enough for what we want to do. Now let's go back to that screen move logic here. And let's see, first we need to go to the main event sheet. And we're going to say, right, what do we want to do here? We want to go background scenery animation. And we're going to stop the animation. In fact, no, actually, yeah, we don't need to do that because it already sets it at 1 there. Anyway, so all we need to do is we're going to go to background scenery, set animation to animation 0. And then I'm just going to copy and paste that here. And you can see how easy this is, by the way. 1. I do like the idea of a game where it's, related into 4 quadrants. Maybe there's different rules there. I don't know. Okay, let's see. So you can see it's a different one. Okay, and if you really wanted to, you could have 64 of these. I mean, if you took the time to make it. Not a bad idea. But everything is the same. And then we kind of move up. And then... Okay. Yeah, perfect. That just gives it that extra bit here. Now, since we added that in there, let's maybe drag this guy in here. And, question is will this clutter everything up or not? Let's see. Kind of like it before. Without that. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Although, it's a tough call. It really is a tough call. I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay. All right. Not bad. Just trying to think. Well, I think that's probably it for today. I might come back with this next week, or I might come back with something new. Who knows? Right. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please subscribe on Patreon. It really does help us out. And if not, you can go purchase some of our products. That helps us out too. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in another live stream. Bye-bye.